Recently I've been playing around a little bit with DMX controlled lighting. What that means is you get a unit like this, you connect it to a bunch of LEDs, and your lights, doesn't necessarily have to be LEDs, and you can play around with all the settings with these sliders and things. And it's really cool because you can control a whole bunch of different parameters. You can create scenes and sequences and all that sort of stuff. However, tonight what I want to do is give a review of this particular unit here. This is a 192 channel controller, and if you're just starting out in the world of DMX, you are going to see this unit possibly with a lot of different brand names available at around, depending on your currency, the sort of 50 to 150 price point, depending on markup and resellers and all the rest of that. This one is a Beams brand, or a Z Beams brand. It's got that on the back, but it doesn't really matter what the brand is. If it looks like this, then it's going to be all made in the same place. And there's nothing particularly special about this, but there are a couple of really annoying things that I think really limit its usefulness. And so what I'm going to do is show you these in action. So with this controller you can do all of the standard basic things, like I can make the scene behind me red, I can make it green, I can make it blue, I can combine those colors, I can do all sorts of pretty things. I can also have sequences running, so the lights behind me do all different things, and I can change the speed, and I can change the fade, and all the rest of that sort of stuff. So it does all of the things that you would want it to do. However, there are two fundamental problems that I have with this unit, and I'll zoom in quite close to the control area so you can see what I am on about. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going through a chase. This is one of the ways you can automate and go through a whole bunch of different sort of lighting setups that you've got. And you'll notice over here that it spends more time on the first step than all the rest of the others. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What that means is that if you're trying to have a beautiful lighting setup and things like that, it's going to be uneven because it's going to spend more time on that first step than all the rest of it. And there's nothing that you can do to change that, because if you adjust the fade speed, it's just going to make it flick through them slower, but with the same problems. 1, 2, 3, etc. So that's really annoying in and of itself. The other annoying problem that I have with this unit is that when you want to change either the speed or the duration of the fade whilst you're going through a chase, the LCD does not display the parameters for either your speed or fade immediately. So if I want to change this, it should immediately flick over, but it doesn't. It's doing nothing, it's doing nothing, it's just going through the chase. And then now it flicks over and I can actually do something useful or see what I'm doing. The other thing is, if you start moving too slow, it sometimes will flick back to the chase that it's running through. And the same as it's the same story with the fade. If we change the fade, nothing, 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 and then it flicks through to the fade, and then I can change those parameters. So those two problems mean that if you're trying to use this as a live way to control lights, you've got a limited way of being able to do that as far as your speed is concerned. Because if you want to change it between 1/10 of a second and somewhere in between 10 minutes per scene change, you sort of need to jiggle it around, wait a bit, wait for it to detect you've done something, and then you can get your different parameters. And then sometimes it'll just flick back to the previous display without any warning, so you don't know what you're doing anymore. So there are the two really fundamental problems as I see them with this setup. Now, I've had a couple of people who have got this test their model, and they come back and say that they've got the exact same fault. So it seems to be a problem that is endemic with this style of unit. Interestingly though, if you want to flick through just the banks and not have a chase, and so you're just flicking through whatever, you know, bank 2, bank 1, bank 3, bank 4, etc., and not have it configured in a chase, then it doesn't stay any longer on step 1. It just flicks through them as you would expect it to do. But the moment you go to a pre-configured chase, you get the same problem where it sticks on one about twice as long as it sticks on any of the other ones. And if we go to chase 4, which has only got 2 stops configured, 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 to 1, it's the same problem. So be aware, if you're getting into DMX controlled lights and all this sort of stuff, this 192 channel controller appears to have these 2 fundamental problems. Thanks for watching.